This is question 11 of the November 2010 Mod 5 Higher Paper 1. And in this one we've got to make x the subject of the formula. That means we need to rewrite this as x equals. The x is being divided by a w and then having t taken away from it. You can think of this if you're sort of working out this formula. You're starting with the x, then what is happening to it is it's being divided by w, and then you're taking t off it, and then you're ending up with y. So you're starting with your x, you're dividing it by w, then you're taking away t, and you're getting y. Now if you want to make x a subject, you need to work backwards through this process. So you'll start with y, I'm going to change the direction of these arrows, and I'm going to write the opposite thing on here. Instead of a minus t, I'm going to put a plus t. Instead of a divided by w, I'm going to put a timesing by w. Now if I work back through here, y plus t, I will write like that. And y plus t, all being times by w, I will write down like that with the w in front of the bracket, and that will be what x is equal to. So that's the answer to that question. X is equal to w times by y plus t. If you multiply that out to get wy plus tw, that would also be correct, and it doesn't matter which order these are in. Wy and yw are the same, tw and wt are the same. The next question is an expand and simplify question. The easiest way to do this is the grid method. So you've got 2x and a positive 3y in one bracket, and in the other bracket you've got an x and a negative y. So make up a 2 by 2 sort of grid, a timesing grid, and then fill in all the gaps. X times by 2x is 2x squared. X times by a positive 3y is a positive 3xy. 2x times by a negative y is minus 2xy. 3y times by negative y is minus 3y squared. Now these two bits here you can combine together, they're both xy bits. 3xy's, take away 2xy's, leave you with one lot of xy. So the final answer will be the 2x squared from top left, the plus one lot of xy you get from these two bits, and you mustn't forget this minus 3y squared, which also needs to be there as part of the answer. Now the final part of the question, if you look at this compared with what you've got up here, it is a little bit similar. And if it says using your answer to part 1, they're suggesting that you do spot a link between these two questions. And if you look at it, every time there is an x up here, there's now an x squared down here. And every time there's a y up here, there's a y cubed. So every x from the previous part of the question has been changed into an x squared, and every y from the top part of the question has been changed into a y cubed. Now if you do that same replacement on your answer, you'll get the answer to this question. So I'm going to take this answer here, but every time there's an x in it, I'm going to replace it with an x squared, and every time there's a y in this answer, I'm going to replace it by a y cubed. So I get 2x squared. So what I've done, I've replaced that x with an x squared. It still has to be squared. Then instead of writing plus xy, I'm going to put plus x squared. And instead of the y, I'm going to write y cubed. Then the final bit over here, minus 3. Now that y I've got to change to a y cubed, and that y is being squared, so that has to be squared. This is the answer I need, but I do need to get rid of the brackets because it does say simplify. X squared squared, if you're doing a power to a power, you times those powers together. So that's x to the power of 4. So I get 2x to the power of 4. Over here, there's no simpler way of writing x squared y cubed. And over here, the 3 is fine, but the y cubed is squared. So if you're doing a power to a power, you times the powers, and 3 times 2 is 6. So there I need y to the power of 6. And that's the final answer to that question.